Somewhere along the way, it was decided that video games are a storytelling medium. Nowadays, stories are kind of the thing. Like, you're playing a game primarily for the story. And that's not true in every genre, that's not true of every game, but for the most part, you're playing a game to experience a story. And that's awesome. And stories are only going to get better in games. We're going to get to the point where new types of stories are being told instead of just kind of copying the structures of like movies. And it's going to be stories that can only be told through video games. But I also think in this move we've kind of lost something about video games, which is that they used to be about having fun. And there are certainly games out there which put story above fun. And that's fine, but that's not why I got into video games. And I'm not here to say, video games have to be fun. That's what they are primarily about, because that's obviously not true. And I think if you think that, you're stuck in the past. It's not a good place to be. But on a purely subjective level, I love old video games. I love video games from before that shift happened. If I need an example, I need only look at Ninja Baseball Batman. Okay, so this is this insane thing where you are 4 robot ninja baseball players and you have to get back these pieces of baseball because they were stolen. The commissioner tells you they were stolen. So your team of ninja robots goes out and you have to get them. And you do that by traveling across this interpretation of America as seen by like Japanese baseball fanatics. So you start off in Seattle, of all places, and it's this like side-scrolling beat 'em up, but it's just like every enemy is based on like baseball. So you're like fighting like evil baseball bats with googly eyes who have like Viking helmets on. When you go to Chicago, you fight like gangster dogs, like prohibition dogs, and when you beat them, their soul leaves their body as a little ghost. And you can do like, okay, so there's 4 characters, and like there's the balanced guy, there's the speed guy, there's the defense guy, and there is the like reach. And it kind of doesn't matter because they all kind of do the exact same thing, but it's awesome because like the reach guy has a bow staff, but it's like a baseball bat because it's baseball. And then the speed guy has like the 2 like ninja knives, but they're baseball bats because it's baseball. And it's amazing. And you can like, when you do a grapple, sometimes you like swing your bat and it hits them and it makes like that home run noise that's in video games. And it's like one of the best sounds anyone's ever come up with. At its core, it's amazing. But it's also a beat 'em up, which means that you spend basically the entire game walking from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen and beating up dudes and getting killed a lot because it's an arcade game, so they want you to keep putting money in. And that kind of raises this issue of how difficult it is to judge beat 'em ups, because the entire point of the game is to derive satisfaction from playing it better so that you can get farther into the game. Whereas if you were to emulate it for some reason, so you could capture footage for a video, you can just keep putting quarters in, and it completely takes out all of the challenge. So all you're really experiencing is the insanity that they are feeding to you, and that makes it hard to judge because I'm not experiencing this game as it was intended to be experienced. I think it's evil to it's like the evils of capitalism structuring this entire game around getting quarters out of kids, but that's also the point of the game. The game exists for that, and it's odd to kind of take that away and you're left with something that isn't really the game, but it is a ton of fun because it's just like you just jump in a car and you're just like rolling over everybody, and the bosses are insane. There's this airplane that like boxes you, and the graphics are amazing. It all looks like hand drawn, and it's very expressive, and there's tons of sprites on the screen all the time, and the music is just like this super repetitive nonsense, and then at the end, so the last level is kind of weird because it's like okay, this is when we get all the quarters, because it's just like as many enemies as they can fit on the screen, and then you fight the boss you've already fought, but then you get to the end, and it turns out the commissioner is actually the bad guy. And then what he does is he jumps onto this gold statue of Babe Ruth, and he becomes like a super Babe Ruth robot ninja master, and then that's the last boss. And then you beat him, and it's like, it's something, man. And like, if this was this is such a stupid thing to say, but you know what, if this was a story-based experience, that wouldn't happen, because it's complete nonsense and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But that's okay, because it's a video game, and video games are awesome, and this is an awesome game.